What's your favorite thing about Blocktales? Is it the characters, the multiple cards you unlock throughout the game, the overall abilities, the OST, or what about the chapters itself? Well, surprisingly, there aren't many sources out there that rank the chapters. The only thing I could find out there was a post on Reddit and a YouTube short. However, I want to go in depth and give my own 2 cents about what I think about every chapter and how I'd personally rank them. I also want to make this video since I heard the first few chapters are going to have lore changes, so the story in this video will probably be totally different when chapter 5 comes out, which is why I want to make this. I'll be setting some ground rules before we start so you guys can know what to expect from this video and my decisions for how they are ranked. Number 1. Chapters will be ranked on how unique they are. Does it do anything different that makes it stand out from other or previous chapters? 2. I'm lumping the prologue section of the game with chapter 1, since I feel a prologue is too short to be its own thing, and it transitions smoothly into chapter 1 anyways, so yeah. Number 3. Miscellaneous stuff such as enemies, new cards or abilities, OST, etc. won't affect this ranking too much. However, if I feel it's necessary to bring up or find something particularly interesting, I'll talk about it. Number 4. This is my own opinion. Feel free to comment your own chapter rankings in the comments if you disagree with mine. But please, don't start any arguments in the comments if you disagree with mine or someone else's opinions. Okay, now with that being over with, it's time for the ranking of every Blocktales chapter, ranked from worst to best. Oh boy, where do I even begin with this? Well, even though chapter 1 is at the very bottom of the list, I don't hate it. I'll go more in detail about why it's at the bottom soon, but first I want to discuss what the prologue and chapter 1 are even about. The prologue takes place in modern Roblox and sets the stage for the events in the game to rescue Builderman and find the sword fight on the Heights swords, setting an end goal for the player. This in chapter 1 does its job well as a sort of tutorial stage for the game, introducing the ball and sword as attack options, easy enemies with no real gimmicks, cards which are very important in battle, and overworld abilities like the dynamite and shrink. You also meet one of the best characters in the game, this guy. He isn't your ideal guide as he kinda makes fun of you sometimes, but despite that, he explains how new abilities work and his personality makes his explanations interesting, which is why I always look forward to Terry dialogue whenever a new chapter comes out. While we're on the topic of characters, let me talk about the main bosses of the prologue, Red, Blue, and Nubador. Their story gets explained much more in chapter 3, but they serve as good introductory bosses despite the ideas of their characters originating from Paper Mario 64. A small detail I like about the Nubador fight is Red and Blue start at 2 HP, which shows they're still hurt from the previous encounter from the player. Just thought I'd point that out. Skipping ahead into Road Town, I love Mayor Monty's dialogue. I just love how he just dozes off during the conversation. The gym side quest is also very cool. If you save him and return back to Road Town, Jim gives you an insanely good recovery item, which is helpful as a last resort if you don't want to die. Finally, Cruel King. One of my complaints is that even though he is the main antagonist of chapter 1, you don't learn much about him aside from NPC interactions mentioning him. You only learn more through his NPC interactions in the Guru, which is an optional area of the game where you refight chapter final bosses. I still like his design and character, but I wish there was like a flashback cutscene maybe before you fight the Banished Knight mini-boss, where he scolds Banished Knight or something like that, to give more character to Cruel King, or at least something. Maybe one could argue finally seeing Cruel King as part of the surprise, but I digress. Anyways, One positive point is I really like the snowy, icy theming in the first chapter. I just, in general, like ice levels in video games. I don't know why, I guess Christmas being my favorite holiday might be because of that. Who knows? I especially like the section where you're walking on ice and you just slide in whatever direction until you land on snow or hit a wall. It's a nice, simple area that makes use of the environment. Soon after, there was also a mini-boss that at this point in the game can only be killed by an item called the bomb. I like the use of killing something through an external source. I really like it. Now, that sure is a lot of positives. But how exactly is Chapter 1 the worst? Well, first of all, when you compare the story of Chapter 1 to A Toxic Time, All Hallows Eve, and Excavation Exploration, Chapter 1 loses by a long shot, as it has the most simple story out of them all. Also, the bosses here just can't compare with the future bosses. Chapter 1 just suffers from being the first main chapter in the game, unfortunately. Before I end off this section, I will say Sentient Statue is the first introduction of an enemy, or I guess in this case, a boss with multi-hit attacks, which differentiates it from most other enemies, but it still doesn't save Chapter 1 from being my least favorite. Don't take this as, oh my god, Chapter 1 sucks. No, I still love it, but the future chapters, I feel, are just way better. Chapter 2, or rather, A Toxic Time, is a huge improvement from the previous chapter. While I kinda like the ice theme in Chapter 1 more, the jungle theme they went for was also pretty neat as well. The introduction of enemies with multi-hit attacks makes battles a little more challenging. Technically this was in Chapter 1 where Sentient Statue had a multi-hit attack, but it's more prominent in Chapter 2. One of my favorite parts about this chapter has to be the part where you shrink and traverse the anthill before making your arrival to the rugged rainforest. It's a unique way to make use of an overworld ability rather than it being used to hide secret items. Another one of my favorite portions of this chapter is the hunt for Bigfoot. Like, so much happens in one cutscene, it's genuinely crazy. This creature steals your sword, insults you, emotes on you, then runs away, refusing to elaborate. Yeah, I don't think I've ever felt more bamboozled and insulted by a character in a video game ever. Don't worry though, Bigfoot gets slammed out later on. But by far, my favorite section in Chapter 2 is where you drive the Jeep. And they went for this cool pixel art style, which I'm absolutely in love with. They could have made this section 3D, and I probably still would have loved it, but they went the extra mile, and yeah, it's just so good. Also, the music for the Jeep section, oh my god, it's so good, it's so peak. In fact, it was so good, it's remixed for the Bigfoot boss theme. Speaking of music, this is where the soundtrack really starts picking up with absolute bangers like the Komodo Dragon, Jungle Battle, Pterodactyls themes, the song where you ride the Jeep, and the Bigfoot theme as I previously mentioned, and both the Griefer themes. Chapter 1 also had some good tracks, but with Chapter 2, they just really cooked on these and it only gets better from here. Oh yeah, speaking of Griefer, I love Griefer's character. Honestly more interesting than Crow King. Sorry all the Crow King fans out there. I like how you see snippets of Griefer throughout Chapter 2 once you get to Pterodactyls, before you eventually reach the Venom Shank and confront Griefer. You even have an early battle with him in the middle of the rainforest. Oh, and the end, where he uses the Venom Shank to turn into the bubonic plant, who is the final boss of this chapter. When I experienced that scene for the first time with my friend Spoofy, it had me bamboozled. Like, I was not expecting Griefer to turn into such a monstrosity. I think when I finally defeated Bubonic Plant, that ending especially solidified the thought that this was better than Chapter 1. Some other stuff I want to bring up is the Rocket Boots, which were a pretty nice addition as an overworld ability. Having to use them to get to an otherwise unreachable platform is great for an exploratory game like this. Also, the slingshot and the rocket launcher were also nice alternative weapons to the ball and sword attacks. They both have their good uses and help give the player new attacks to mess around with. Other than that, I don't have much to say. I really enjoy this chapter, and it's nice going back to play this one. The boss fights are good, the music is good, the main antagonist is great. The jungle battle theme I mentioned earlier, I think is supposed to be a Mario and Luigi battle sounding track, which I just love. I grew up with Bowser's Inside Story as a kid, and hearing that theme brings back good memories. The only reason this is number 3 is because All Hallows Eve and Excavation Exploration are just better, I'm sorry. The story in those chapters just exceed the plot in chapter 2, which is a shame, but it's bound to happen with the newer released chapters. You know, I think we all know why this is so high up, but before we get there, I want to talk about the main areas first. This is probably my favorite introduction to a chapter by far, and even beats chapter 4. You start off on a moving train which is taking you to the cemetery. That is such a cool idea, and I hope for something similar to this in future chapters. It's a really neat concept. The sequence where the bandits raid the train and you have to fight them off to reach the front of the train is also cool too. Once you get there, you meet Nubidor, Red, and Blue again. These characters actually now serve a point in the story, working as allies to get the player to the cemetery. You also encounter Green and Purple, which are Red and Blue's parents trying to indoctrinate them to do bad things. Giving characters whose design originate from Paper Mario 64 and giving them a backstory is just amazing. I don't know how else to describe this. I just love what they did with these characters. This is also where you're introduced to call cards after the Green and Purple battle. Calling in temporary party members kinda similar like in the first 2 Paper Mario games with the party member system. Moving on, a lot of this chapter is Halloween vibed, which I really enjoy. I like that they expanded on the Haunted Mansion original game created by Telemon, adding new areas like the basement, while also being heavily faithful to the original. I mean, wow, these rooms are spawn-on exact replicas. Moving on, the Ghost Chef? Okay, I know the Kitchen Wizard got absolutely destroyed by Terry back in Black Rock Castle and got hit with the Family Guy death pose, but come on, Terry is not that strong to have him in that pose. Or is he? Okay, back on track. The Ghost Chef fetch quest we have to do is pretty nice. It makes you explore the mansion, and at the end, when you get all the ingredients, you have shark fin soup? Oh, and the ghost potion. Probably my favorite ability in the overworld and in battle. It's great for avoiding encounters with enemies you don't want to fight, which is really helpful and also allows you to phase through certain walls. Anyways, a couple puzzles later, we reach the Ghost Walker. Except, only those with a pure soul can use it. And what do we do? Well... The Dream World is probably my second favorite area in this entire game. The design and art style here is very cool and is very different from the previous 2 chapters. It's the player's imagination, which really reminds me of Magic Hand from Earthbound. Yeah, it's taken until chapter 3 for me to make a mother reference in this video. Anyways, while you traverse the dream world, you have to complete a variety of mazes to fight each of your emotions: greed, solitude, and fear. Each of them is pretty unique, especially the solitude maze. I like it a lot. Also, the boss themes for the emotions. Oh my god, they are so good, especially solitude and fear. Makes you feel very uneasy while fighting. I really enjoy it. Oh, but my favorite part of this chapter is when, after fighting off all your negative emotions and it killing fear, Builderman finally reveals himself to be hatred in disguise. Wait, hang on a sec, this looks kinda familiar. Oh yeah, I love Hatred's design so much. It's a mix of Gygas's design from Mother 1 and Mother 2, combining the alien design with the embodiment of all evil. But Hatred's theme, oh my gosh, it's so good. I've listened to this I don't know how many times already. It's that good. There are multiple sounds from Earthbound in this one track. I find it genuinely crazy. The attention to detail is spot on. I mean, just listen to it. On to the actual fight. You need the Ghost Potion in order to beat Hatred, since there is an unavoidable attack that, no matter what you do, cannot be blocked. You must use the Ghost Potion, which I really enjoy the use of abilities to counter some boss attacks. After you finally beat Hatred, you wake up from a short nap, I guess, and you just kinda show off against Ghost Chef while you pull the Ghost Walker. Now that is a really good ending. Blew my expectations going into this out of the water. I love the Dreamworld section. It pulls a complete 180, and I love insane plot twists like that. And this is the showcase of the best music this game has to offer. Some other stuff I wanted to go over was the battle with the turkey for an ingredient with the Ghost Chef. It's a pretty comedic, goofy battle, and if you're unlucky enough, the turkey just pulls out a shotgun and caught me off guard the first time. However, the boss is so easy that the turkey will almost never use the move at all. There is also Slasher. Kinda forgettable if I'm going to be honest. I guess they needed someone for the icon of the game for Chapter 3, but Slasher just kinda shows up. You fight them and they just leave. The Super Bowl is a neat upgrade though. The new ground pound ability by jumping again in midair is pretty sweet. Now, overall, really good chapter. I like everything about it. I know a lot of people would put this in the #1 spot, which it absolutely deserves. This chapter, as well as Chapter 4, I'd say are tied for best chapter in the game. But there are just a few things I think Chapter 4 just does better. Yep, you saw that right. Excavation Exploration, or rather Chapter 4, is my favorite Blocktales chapter that is currently in the game as of now. I really like the desert theme they went for. You know, normally I hate desert levels in video games as they're kinda boring and are just filler inside the game. But Blocktales, oh, they did it right, like, oh my gosh. You start out exploring the desert. Wow, shocker. And I kinda like this mini cave area with the platforming and using dynamite to progress. I don't know why I like it, I just think it looks cool. I don't see many people talking about it. Later on, you explore a temple and it's pretty cool. You have to step on certain tiles that are displayed on the wall that tells you which ones to go down. The boulder chasing you is also pretty good. It's easily avoidable, but I still like it nonetheless. Reminds me of the chase sequence from Mario Odyssey and Metro Kingdom and the massive truck chasing Sonic in Sonic Adventure 2. Immediately after that, you meet the great... How do you even say that? I see. Okay, well, this is the great Flossie. This guy is very silly and funny. I like that he speaks using Shakespeare. Also, these have to be the most legendary images I've ever seen. I hope the person who drew these was paid a lot. This is peak art right here. The great Flossie has probably my favorite lines in this entire game, such as, "Has thou even seen the housing market these days? And do not get myself started on HOAs. Not after this insurance claim." Of all things that would be referenced, I did not think Blocktales would ever reference the 2008 housing market crash, which is hilarious considering the time period this game takes place in. Also, we kinda evicted this guy from his bottle so we can use it as an overworld ability. Yikes. Speaking of which, the fight against the great Flossie is very funny as well. Like some of his attacks, he just summons a golden statue to drop on you, and a literal car. I think we have peaked on Roblox, guys. It does not get better than this. This guy even does his little monologuing during battle as well. It's just so peak. I'm sorry if I'm spending a lot of time on this part in particular. I just have to do the great Flossie justice. Okay, moving on from the temple, we reach the pirate camp where we are introduced to two very important characters, Captain Trotter and Calypso. I'll go more in depth about these two later on. Around the pirate camp, you have to solve a variety of puzzles so you can open up the entrance to the Temple of the Red Sun. These are very interesting puzzles to figure out, and makes it stand out from previous chapters. It makes sense too, considering we are working for pirates trying to find buried treasure. I know some people didn't like the focus on puzzles, but I didn't feel like they were over excessive at all. It breaks the pacing of the chapter in a good way, solving these puzzles. After that, we enter the Temple of the Red Sun. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite area in the game. Especially the music in this area. It's so good to listen to. I really like the ominous atmosphere here. It is very mysterious, and the hieroglyphs Calypso reads out are very disturbing. Throughout this area, Calypso also joins you throughout the rest of the chapter, and she is really good. Her damage is good and is able to heal herself, so she stays alive for a long time. Her backstory is also really good. She was found lost and was discovered by Captain Trotter, which is honestly pretty wholesome. Speaking of Trotter, he's nice to all of his crew as well. He treats all of them like family and prioritizes them over everything. At the end, when almost his entire crew dies, he doesn't even want the treasure anymore since the people around him are just gone now. It's really sad when you think about it. Yeah, that got kinda sad, didn't it? Well, at least you unlock the shovel here. A pretty interesting overworld ability going underground in certain spots. Okay, since this chapter is coming to a close, there is not much else to talk about. Let's discuss the bosses. Temple Guardian is really cool, and wait, this kind of reminds me of something. Okay, but seriously, a really cool feature here is that you have to defeat Temple Guardian without the use of the sword fight on the Heights swords, which makes for a good challenge. The player has definitely used these throughout the entire game so far, and it has just been taken away. Honestly, kinda a tough fight too. I was playing on hard mode with a full party of 4, so maybe that is why it took so long, but my group eventually beat Temple Guardian finally. A lot of the attacks do so much damage and apply status effects that are a pain to deal with. When we finally reach the Firebrand, Captain Trotter does his little speech about he doesn't care about the treasure anymore, and blah blah blah. The player desires the Firebrand, but Captain Trotter thinks you betrayed his entire crew, so now you gotta fight him. This isn't harder than Temple Guardian. In fact, my group beat him on the first try, but I do like the idea of not being able to apply damage to him based on his current stance, which makes you alternate between using ball and sword attacks. Anyways, after the fight, Calypso accidentally pushes Trotter into the lava, and after crashing out to us, we find the Ancients. Dude, this thing looks horrifying, and the dialogue from the Ancients is even creepier. But this was an ultimate final boss, I'll tell you that much. And did you think I would forget about the gem of a song that the recovery system made for the final boss theme of this chapter? This is high quality stuff, dude. We got a heavy metal style final boss theme with lyrics. And the song is a banger too. I listened to this for like more than an hour one time. It's just that good. Here, listen to it for yourself. I seriously hope the recovery system returns to make another final boss theme for Blocktales. Maybe for Chapter 5. If you haven't listened to the full song, please do. I promise it's worth your time. It's called I Am Your Captain Now by the recovery system, for your information. Anyways, after the battle, the Ancients do their little speech that is unsettling. And it's also creepy knowing thousands of souls, including Trotter, are trapped inside the Firebrand for all of eternity. Yeah, that's gonna keep you up at night. What a banger of a chapter. Like I said, this is basically tied with Chapter 3. But with the design of new elements in the boss fights, along with the pirate theme, the Ancients, and the final boss theme, I just think with those factors, it easily makes this my favorite chapter in the game. A few not so important things to mention before I end this segment. Terry and Jerry in the floaty in that one section where Terry just slowly turns around is pretty funny. Seriously, I love the Terry sections in the game. They're so good. Also, fighting reference in the Vermilion Village as well. And I think that concludes this section. Roll the outro. Hey guys, welcome to the end of the video. It is currently 12:27 a.m. as I'm editing this right now. I just put together all the background footage, and right now, a demo 5 came out 27 minutes ago, so, this is going to be a very outdated video, which was the point, but I just wanted to do this whole ranking since, like, the whole game is going to be completely different, so, yeah. I hope you guys enjoy this long ride. Hopefully it wasn't too painful to watch. Video of Chapter 5 of Blocktales. Hopefully I can get to that soon. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. See ya.